Hey, welcome back to my channel. It's so good to be here and to be talking about the 6.5 reasons why your horse hates you. First of all, spoiler alert, your horse does not hate you. And I know, look, I felt this way before too. I felt like, oh, this horse really doesn't like me, or my horse is really grouchy with me. And sure, I'm sure you've been chasing around the paddock, either trying to catch your horse, or the horse is screwing up its nose at you at certain times, or trying to bite you when you're doing the girth up. But these are all indications, not necessarily that the horse hates you, but that the horse is either frustrated or unhappy. Horses don't really have those emotions or abilities to think, oh, there goes Emma. I can't stand her. I'm going to run away from her today. It's more an indication of the fact that they're not happy with something else. So I want to talk about those things today. But let's get started talking about these 6.5 reasons why your horse hates you or doesn't hate you, more to the point, and wait around to the very end because that's the half reason and that's the most important one. That's the most important tip I'm going to give you to make your horse absolutely love you. And if you love this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I really appreciate the support and it gives me lots more encouragement to do more videos for you. So let's get started. So first reason, maybe there is a complete lack of trust. And this is often a reason why horses perhaps run away from you when you go to catch them. Or he might be displaying symptoms of anxiety when you're taking him out of the paddock, like you get him up to the yard and he's pawing, or he's dancing around, whinnying for his friends and carrying on and being a complete pain in the butt. This can be quite normal behavior for horses that have separation anxiety, so I wouldn't look too much into it. But if horses don't necessarily have separation anxiety and they're just carrying on and being a pain, this is an example that they may have trust issues. It may also be as basic as the fact that they're super attached to their herd, and you'll always struggle to settle your horse when you take him away from his friends. But there are some solutions, like dedicating the time to get to know your horse and building trust on the ground before sitting on their back. Start on the ground. Take your horse on a really nice walk. Spend some time with it. Don't be in such a rush all the time. Groom and brush him, teach him that being around you is positive and nice. It's not stressful or upsetting. Just spending time with your horse builds trust, and it takes quite a while. For some horses, it takes years. For other horses, not so long, and they attach to you and trust you straight away. It really depends on your individual horse. But do your best to spend as much time as possible, especially at the beginning of your relationship with your horse, and it'll make a big difference in whether they like you or not. So number 2 is allowing the horse to disrespect you. Oh, there's Blackie. So number 2 is allowing the horse to disrespect you. And this includes all sorts of manner of things. This is the horse stepping all over you, the horse bumping you quite hard with its head, especially when you're taking the bridle off. This can show up in all sorts of different ways. Often horses like to shoulder barge, they like to tow you with the lead rope, they like to step on your feet, although often that's not deliberate, that's usually an accidental thing. But they get up all in your grill, they get up in your space. It's like that guy at the bar, that you really don't want to talk to, but he's kind of all over the place and talking to you, and you're kind of trying to get them to move away from you, and you can't. So it's the same situation with the horse. And when they disrespect you like that, it's a really horrible feeling. A lot of horse riders don't even notice they're being disrespected. They just think it's normal for a horse to step all over them. Well, just think about that guy in the bar. It is not normal for a guy to be all over you when you hardly know them, or even when you do know them, that's kind of not normal either, unless, like he's super hot and you really like each other. Or anyway, let's not go down that track. The point is, if a horse is stepping all over you, being a pain in the butt to you, first of all, you need to establish some manners on the ground. You need to establish some trust on the ground. When a horse trusts you, they see you really as sort of the head of the herd. And it really, in terms of horse body language, they actually begin to like you a lot more when they see you as the boss, like the alpha mare. So, this can be remedied again with a lot of groundwork. Look up some natural horsemanship videos. There's a lot of great ones here on this platform on YouTube, and figure out how to just establish some boundaries on the ground. Backing the horse up when it's standing on top of you is a really good tool. Getting the horse to move its feet away from you, preferably, not into you. There are techniques that you can learn, so I encourage you to look those up. Okay, number three is the horse just might be super frustrated with you. And it's not necessarily your fault. It's also not their fault. You've got to remember that horses are very black and white, particularly when they're younger. There's really no grey areas. So in your training, if you're not sort of black and white and giving the horse good clarity as to what you want and expect, it can create this grey area. And horses get very confused in grey areas. So if you're this frustration in a horse can often show up, particularly under saddle, but also on the ground. But in under saddle examples are rearing, bucking, kicking, pulling at the reins, any number of those pretty ugly behaviors that show up in a horse. Now, of course, some of these behaviors may be related to pain. There may be an ill-fitting saddle. They may have pulled a muscle. They may have a sore back, any number of things. If you've had all of those things checked out, they're still displaying these behaviors, I suggest that you get an instructor, an expert involved to help you out to really figure out what's going on with this frustrated horse. A frustrated horse is generally a very unhappy horse. It's not that they don't like you, they're just frustrated. So figuring that out with an instructor or an expert, somebody that really knows what they're doing, is my number one recommendation. So number four is that your horse is just super bored. And I see this all the time. I have moved from being an eventing and show jumping rider into being a dressage rider, and dressage for a lot of horses can be super boring. Now, okay, don't kill me in the comments, all of you dressage riders. But essentially, I have seen dressage riders who take their horses into the arena 6 days out of 7, and on the seventh day, the horse gets a break. Can you imagine how nauseatingly boring that must be for a horse? And you dressage riders can talk about the training techniques and the different ways you train and all the rest of it. Great. However, I truly believe horses need a break from their training schedules at least once or twice a week. They need to be hacked out, take them to the beach, take them on a trail ride. Hell, just walk them up the driveway and back again. Lunge them, put them over trot poles, do some cavaletti. You've got to mix their routine up. Think about it this way. If you're a human being sitting in your house watching the same TV program, or even if it was different TV programs, let's say you're watching different TV programs all day long, eating the same food, staying in the exact same room, maybe you go to the bedroom once and go to the lounge and go to the kitchen, but essentially you're doing that day in, day out with one day of a break. Perhaps you're sleeping on that day. You can imagine how bored you would get. So, if your horse is bored, this shows up in all sorts of ways. My mare Dee, who's back in New Zealand, I had to make sure that she had a real variety in her work. So, I would hack her out. I'd take her to the beach. I'd certainly do my training 2 or 3 times a week in the arena. That was super important for the type of riding I was doing. But other than that, I did all sorts of other stuff because she'd get super cranky. And if I tried to take her into the arena, 4 times a week, she let me know that she wasn't particularly happy about that. So a bored horse is an unhappy horse. Keep your horse entertained. Exercise in different settings. I know some settings are really difficult, but even if you can just hack down the driveway or put some cavaletti up in the arena, it all helps, keep your horse interested in its work and in being around you. Number 5 is that you are just plain ignoring their body language. And I saw an example of this actually on social media where somebody had finally, after about 6 months, realized that their horse had ulcers. It was actually a pony that had ulcers, and they mentioned that the pony kept looking at its stomach and looking at its stomach and spinning around and bucking and rearing and then looking at its stomach. I think those are fairly, in fact, very obvious signs that the horse has got a sore gut. But, for people who aren't necessarily as that experienced, even for more experienced riders, we're all so busy in our life. We want to go out to the yard, we want to ride, we want to throw the horse back in the paddock, and we want to get on with our lives, whether that's picking up kids or going to another sports event or going home and cooking dinner and going to work. It doesn't matter what it is. We're all in a big fat rush. And if we're not noticing these really subtle signs that the horse is showing us, pinned back ears, tension, upset with doing the girth up, if that's something that's suddenly new, then your horse has got an issue. So noticing these signs, and I'll link a video up here, the 9 subtle signs video that I did a little while ago, and that's a brilliant video. It gives you some idea of some of those signs that horses are showing you. That mean they're super unhappy. And if you can pick up on these signs fairly quickly as a rider and notice them and do something about them, you're going to have a much happier horse who loves you way more than he might if you were ignoring him. And number 6, I've touched on this just now, but if you're in a rush. So I was guilty of this a while ago when I was working a job in the city. It was a big job. It was a head of marketing role. I was running a team of 6. I was flying all over New Zealand and sometimes internationally. I'd get up super early at 5 a.m. I'd go, I'd literally catch the horse in the dark. I'd be on board at sunrise, not sunset, sunrise. And I was always in a rush. I was rush. Luckily, I had a pretty tolerant horse that dealt with my rushing. But if you're always in a rush, it can be a point of stress for your horse because they don't feel relaxed. And also, you're not spending quality time with them, like I mentioned in point 1. You're simply rush. You're arriving, you're tacking up, you're riding, you're untacking, you're washing, or whatever, you're leaving. And horses are very present animals. They live in the present. And when you're like that, you're living for the next thing. You're living in the future. Oh gosh, I've got to get here. I've got to get there. And horse doesn't really appreciate that. Horse wants to genuinely connect with you. So if you're constantly rushing to bring the horse in, tack up, ride and leave, it can actually stress your horse out completely. Remember, horses are really present animals. They live for the now, not for the future. So ensure when you go and spend time with them that you leave plenty of time for extra. Plus the attention that your horse really craves. And your horse will love you for it. And so will your own body and nervous system as well. And here's my half tip. This is the best tip of all, and I'm glad you waited to the end to find out about it. This tip is all about scratches. Horses love being scratched. And if you're lucky and you find your horse's scratchy parts, and all horses have different parts that they love being scratched more than others. My horse particularly loves being scratched right here on the inside of her shoulder or on the curb in that shoulder area. If I scratch her there, I am lucky enough to get scratches back. And this can form a true bond with your horse. There's a great saying, horse riders should never have clean nails. And that's because if you're busy scratching your horse, your nails should be probably pretty dirty. So next time you go out to spend some time with your horse, start scratching him with your nails. Get in there. Often horses like being scratched on the wither because that's often where they groom each other. Some horses like their girth area being scratched. Some love their head and neck area being scratched. So my challenge to you in this little half point is to find your horse's most scratchy bits. And when you find them, you will notice that your horse will often groom you back. So persevere with it. It's a really magical thing to experience when a horse starts scratching you back. And I highly recommend it. It's one of the most fun things about being a horse rider is when your horse starts grooming you back. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It always helps encourage me make more videos. I really hope you enjoyed this video today. Please don't feel that your horse hates you. He definitely doesn't. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.